And she looked down and there are worms. She had knocked out the worms, the parasites, large worms, inside her body.
Hello, everyone. I'm Wendy Myers. Welcome to the Myers Detox Podcast. And on today's show, we're going to talk about the shocking benefits of Rife devices. So these are frequency devices that deliver different programs to your body. And we have my friend John White on the show, who's the developer of the device called a Spooky 2. It's a Rife device that he's an engineer. He spent many years kind of reinventing Rife devices and making it open source so people can upload their own frequencies and things that are working for them to this device. And it's absolutely amazing. It has tens of thousands of frequencies that you can use to address any manner of ailments in your body, infections, parasites, fungal infections, whatever you've got going on. There is a frequency or a program in the Spooky 2 that can address it. And we talk about the many different ways that I've used it. John talks about different testimonials and stories about his friends and how they've healed from so many different health issues. Like, for instance, I've used it for different infections. I've used it on my daughter one time when she had a fever. I've used it on a friend that had a concussion. I've used it on myself. I kind of pulled a back muscle dancing, and I used a cortisone frequency and magnesium and muscle relaxers and things to address my back very successfully, very quickly. And so there's a myriad number of ways you can use Rife technologies. And we're going to explore that on the show today. So our guest, John White, he's a Rife researcher and inventor from New Zealand, now living in China. And with a background in electrical engineering, physics, and computer sciences, he's been researching and developing solutions to serious diseases since 2008. John specializes in energy and scalar resonance healing, biofeedback, and PEMF therapy, or PEMF therapy, with an insatiable desire for truth and knowledge. John has collaborated with other research groups to discover answers to our many health issues. And at the beginning of John's career, the death of John's grandparents influenced him greatly. He felt the helplessness of being unable to extend the lives of those he loves. And the subsequent death of Peter Garbett, his teacher and mentor, brought focus to his determination to find a solution to illness. And so he believes that sickness should not be a business and restoration of health should be our primary objective. And his vision was to provide people with all that they need to take control over their own health. And you can learn more about John and his Rife device at spooky2.com. John, thank you so much for coming on the show.
It's a pleasure being here. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about Rife. And so this is a technology. That's something that I've been using personally for several years for my own health. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what Rife technology is exactly?
Well, the word Rife came from the gentleman who discovered something very important. He discovered that applying specific frequencies can heal specific problems, specifically disabling viruses and bacteria and parasites. He developed a machine that could target these pathogens, as they're called, and kill them outright. So Rife is the process of applying what's termed resonant frequencies, these specific frequencies, to kill these nasties that are in your body.
Yes. And I love my Rife. I actually just bought 2 more because I am opening a clinic here in Mexico in Playa del Carmen, or more specifically Puerto Aventuras, because I'm very passionate about energy medicine and frequencies to heal the body and to address the body. And I think I've just been amazed at what I've seen with my own health and with the health of my friends and family that I treat. Like, I have my uncle, he has brain cancer right now and lung cancer. And so my mom bought him a Rife, Spooky 2 Rife specifically, that you developed to address that. And so I've just have so many different ways that I use this device. And it's essentially a flashing bulb. It's a bulb, or you have a tube also that just flashes light at you. It's a plasma device that just flashes light at you. And it's just sending these frequencies to your body to kill different pathogens and it does all kinds of things. So let's talk about what made you want to design your own Rife device, because there's a lot of different Rife devices out there, but yours is called the Spooky 2. Tell us what was the genesis of that.
The field of healthcare, albeit mainstream or Rife, it's all about business. It's all about how much you can get away with selling a product, how much money you can get into your pockets. And to me, that's always been wrong. And so I decided to make a big change. So we developed machines that were better than the others, but also considerably cheaper. So most people would have their heart sink to the floor when they see the prices of these other machines that have got the Rife label. But our machines, which work better, they can buy them, and they do, and then they can add it to the system afterwards, because of course Spooky 2 is modular. You can just add another component to it and grow and grow and grow if you wish. And that way you can treat your whole family with all different conditions simultaneously. I wanted this paradigm change because there were some deaths in my family. Now, family who I saw leaving before their time. They looked perfectly fit and healthy until they got this specific disease, and then they went downhill extremely fast. And I had no answers, Wendy. I had nothing to offer them. So in a way, I guess I was living with the self-guilt. I didn't cause the problem, but I couldn't really be much help. I went through the procedures of chemotherapy and the drugs that you're given, radiation as well. But there was nothing that could really solve the problem. So I took it upon myself to bring solutions to other people. It was too late for myself, but certainly I can help others. So Spooky now helps hundreds of thousands of people take control over both their own health and the health of their loved ones. It's a little bit disheartening, when you go to a doctor, you pay the money and you get 15 minutes of their time. I believe the best doctor is yourself. You know how you're feeling, these little tweaks and pains that are hard to describe to another person, but you can feel them. They are there. Sometimes, you can go to a doctor, and the doctor, you can see in their eyes, they don't really believe you when you try to explain to them how it's like. Or they just brush it off. Oh, this is just regular conditions. But you can look after yourself in such a way that you can overcome quite even serious conditions by yourself.
I want to talk about the Rife device that you developed, because it's something that I've used a lot for my own health. Like, for instance, I went dancing the other night and I sprained my back. I guess I was twerking too hard or something. And I really, the entire right side of my back from my neck to my bottom was sprained.
I just mental image off my, yeah.
I couldn't roll over in bed. I was in a lot of pain. So I went on the Rife device and I put in cortisone. Yes. And muscles and muscle spasms, and did that on my back. And I was amazed at how much better I felt pretty quickly. My back healed in 3 days, and I was throwing a lot at it with like red light and stuff. But I primarily was doing the Spooky 2 Rife, and it helped a lot. And, because I was thinking about going to get a cortisone shot or something. And I thought, because I with a really bad muscle sprain, I thought, and there was also some intercostal muscles, which don't heal very well. But I thought, well, why don't I just do cortisone on the Rife? Because there's 50,000 different settings, or there's more than that, of every imaginable, minerals and medications. I also did magnesium to relax my muscles as well. You can do the frequency for magnesium. And then I had another girlfriend that had a concussion, and she hit her head really bad. She fell over, and she was slurring her words. And I thought she had been drinking or something. But then I realized it was, and I asked her, are you drinking? And because I saw her in the streets one day, and I realized it was the concussion that she had. And so I had her come over. I did 3 sessions on her. I did concussion. And she was so much better. Her headaches went away, her head pressure went away, and her speech returned to normal in 3 sessions. And the doctors really had nothing for her except to give her, some anti-inflammatories. And she was in a lot of trouble for sure. And she's totally fine now.
How did it feel to have the tools and to be in control, to actually be able to do something? How did that feel for you?
It's amazing. It's great to be able to, have a device like this to address whatever it is that you need to. Like, I had another friend come over. She's a psychiatrist, and she's actually the person that I'm partnering with in the clinic, that we're going to have the 2 Rife devices and an Equiscope doing various things. But she had some GI issues in Mexico. You drink the water, you get GI issues and parasites in the food and things like that, like everybody does. We did a couple of Rife sessions and she was fine. She noticed a huge difference after just 1 session. And it's great because you can do a scan of your body. You just put in some like these pads, sticky pads in your body, and scan your body. You can do a quick 5-minute scan or a longer, maybe high quality 30-minute scan. The device figures out exactly. I'm doing the podcast now, just by the way, but I'm answering the questions for you. I'm so sorry I took over, but you do the scan. The device will figure out like the top frequencies that you need, that are resonating for you at that moment, and then send the frequencies to you. Can you explain that whole process?
There's 2 different ways of doing biofeedback. There's a pulse method where your body gives the feedback. When you hit a resonant frequency, a frequency that's killing a bug, your body has this reaction, like a nerve. It's a physical reaction, which makes your heartbeat increase. It's a stress. And Spooky will scan through a wide range of frequencies and detect exactly which frequencies are for you. And the other way is using a very special generator of ours that you connect using TENS pads. That sort of biofeedback is much faster. And again, it scans through the range of frequencies. But that kind of frequency biofeedback scan is looking for physical changes in the electrical signal, and it picks up the resonance that way. So it's a different way of doing the same function. I'll tell you an interesting story, Wendy. Now, we get lots of feedback from happy customers, people that are blown away by the technology and how much their health has improved. But there's one particular person, she did a biofeedback scan. She thought there was nothing wrong with her. She was perfectly healthy, like you and I were sort of just going about our lives. But she did a biofeedback scan, and she ran the frequencies that the biofeedback scan found. And the next time when she passed a motion, she felt the need to do so pretty soon after doing the scan. And she looked down and there are worms. She had knocked out the worms, the parasites, large worms, inside her body.
Thank you for sharing.
She was amazed. Well, I can go into more description, but I think we'll stop it at there in the physical sense. But the thing is, she thought that she was well. She thought there was nothing wrong with her. After that time, she suddenly felt alive, like really energetic, and able to face the stresses of day-to-day life so much better. Even things like her mind function, her thinking. And I guess it's because her body was putting energy into trying to keep the invaders at bay, these parasites.
Yeah. And that's why I bought a Spooky, because I want to kill my cooties. I want to get rid of all the cooties. And I don't like taking all these like parasite cleanses and taking all this stuff for like a month and then it doesn't get everything. Then you got to do it again and again and again. And I just I'm over that. I've graduated beyond that. And I like the exactness of the device, like where it detects what parasites you have and just sends a frequency, nukes them, their membranes explode, and then you're done. It only gets that. It doesn't get any of your other healthy bacteria.
That's right. It's very specific. That's right. When people get sick, quite often it's very, very gradual, very slow. And so you don't notice it until you start looking old you get those wrinkles prematurely, and so they're the outward signs. Inward signs, you feel less energy, your emotions, you start feeling a little bit depressed. So then you start the tablets and start to spiral downwards. Yeah, it's quite nasty how it happens. And I don't like the idea of having freeloaders inside me. I just don't like it. And so I do something about it. I know that now I've got no parasites. I know that my viral, if I've got any virus, is getting hammered. I just feel great. Every day is a good day. Every day is a great day. And I just wish that more and more people realized that you can live a day and be happy and things, but the energy, the roar of a furnace inside you comes from eliminating these parasites, making sure that you have all these essential nutrients, of course, and if, Spooky has frequencies to emulate these nutrients as well. The best toolkit you can have in your first aid kit is something, as a Spooky 2, broad spectrum. Let's see, I've got a migraine coming on. Let's run a migraine program, and there will be a migraine. There'll be lots of migraine programs to choose from. Or you're not sure why you're unwell, you've got a cough, but you really don't know what it is. Run a scan and find those magical frequencies and then run them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had a bladder infection one time, and I ran, just typed in bladder infection and just came up with a program for that and ran that. And it's great. It's great to be able to, because I feel very in control of my health, and I feel like I don't need to take any unnecessary antibiotics or
medications
or things that I don't want in my body. They're going to be harmful to my immunity in the long run.
Yes.
I can just scan my body, and also you can do it on a regular basis. You can do a scan like every 4 days. Say if you just got your Spooky and you want to kill all your cooties, you can go on a cootie killing spree and just do a scan and then run those frequencies every day. And then day 4, do another new scan, run those frequencies and, kill away, go on a killing spree. It's awesome.
People quite often don't think about side effects of the drugs that they take to try and kill these cooties. They might take one drug for, let's say, for blood pressure, for cholesterol, but then a side effect is your muscles start wasting away or your bone strength starts diminishing. So then you've got to take other capsules to compensate for that. And these have got side effects. And so after a while, they find they're taking, 5-10 capsules a day, each one trying to negate the bad things of the other and having it on its own a few bad things as well. But, to attack issues using frequencies, there's no side effects. There's no other thing you need to do apart from, I guess, drinking more water to flush out the poisons that these frequencies are releasing in your body, if there are poisons. And it's always wise to drink lots of water anyway. So that's got that appeal as well. When you talk about these Spooky, I think it's important to realize that there's a lot of frequency devices that we have. There's more than one way to butter away a slice of toast. We've got the plasma, which you've talked about, but we've also got scalar, Spooky scalar. We've got the contact mode, which is directly onto the generators. We've got lots of different methods. Cold lasers.
I have them all.
Well.
I have them all.
I
got everything. I'm like, give it all to me. Because I first had you on the show, actually it was a couple of years ago. And after I spoke with you, I was just amazed at how versatile your Rife is, at how inexpensive the Rife was. Because I have always wanted one, but they're $10,000 and up.
Oh, it's crazy.
For most businesses and for most Rifes. And it's out of reach for most people, but yours is like half the price of that. It's actually a lot less. That's for like the whole enchilada, if you want to get like everything that it offers. But you can start with a really, really like less than like a couple $100, a few $100 just to get started, which is amazing. But sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. So tell us the other components and what it does.
Oh, well, we've even got the remote where you don't have to be connected to anything. You can just treat yourself all the time. When we were developing the scalar this is an example of what drives us, okay? We're developing the scaler. It took a few years. It's quite a complex machine, a lot of heavy science in it. A friend of ours contacted us. She had a cancerous tumor in her breast, and it was growing fast. And she asked us for help because she knew that we were developing this special machine. So we gave her a prototype of the scaler device, and she went away and started treating herself. When we finally finished the development and it came into production, we had an American tour, and we were setting up the first conference, all excited, hundreds of people there. And we got a text message, tumor gone. Things like this, boy, we were buzzing for the rest of the tour. We were so happy. That's what drives us. It's really not the money side. And you're talking about it's cheap. Yeah, it is cheap, but really what drives us is the feedback of people saying, yeah, we are now healthy. It's a terrible way to run a business, I've got to tell you, Wendy. And it's a terrible way to make friends with other businesses because they hate us. The second generator that we used was our XM generator. We wanted that as cheap as possible, but also have extremely high-end functions. We were selling it for something like $110. It was very popular because it was a very capable frequency device. And so we ordered in a lot more components than we did in the previous time. So it was cheaper for us to make this generator. Now, we thought, hey, wouldn't it be cool to sell it under $100? Oh, can we do it? Can we do it? Well, screw it, we'll do it. So he passed on all the savings that we had to the customers. We didn't get one iota of the benefits of, we could have, this is what business would have done. They would have got more profit by having, instead of ordering 100 of so many components, we order 1,000 components and then do it by mass production. Well, we didn't do it right, did we? We passed on the benefits. And even now, Wendy, when the prices of components are going up because of the pandemic, disrupting the chain supplies of all these, microprocessors and things, it's more expensive, a lot more expensive actually, for us to produce these products. You can see it in the prices of cars and things as the trickle-down effect takes place. But we have not increased our prices. In fact, we've increased the amount of money that each person donates to charity. Every time someone buys from us, we take a little bit and throw it into a charity, because that's blessings to the person. And I believe that with blessings, the person will heal faster. They'll also become a better person, whether they know it or not. And we increased it from $1. We call it a $1 One Love, but we made it $2 for each order, no matter what size the order is, as well as a certain percentage of profit going towards the trusts that we have for helping children in hospitals and orphanages and things. So this, the company is really not focused at all on the money side. It's truly focused on our customers, on their health, not just making them live longer, but live better.
And that's what I love. That's what I love about your approach, and you're so heart-centered, and you just I think you're just an amazing person, and bringing this device to people is just so amazing. I can do a lot of different modalities, anything that I want, and I'm using the Spooky all the time. Like I have a friend that's coming over. He lost his sense of smell. And I'm just like, I'm going to use the Spooky on him to try to restore his olfactory senses.
Yes.
And I know it's going to work, so there's so many different things you can do with this. Like I bought it for my mom bought a system for her brother, my uncle, and he has a COPD, and he was having a hard time breathing at night, hard time sleeping. He was always waking up and coughing. Did the COPD settings on the Spooky, and he had like phlegms of breaking up in his chest, and he was expelling it. He was sleeping better, sleeping through the night. Within a week of you starting the treatment with the Spooky.
Yeah, it is very, very good. The moment that people realize that they can take control over their own health, That's the moment where their lives change for the better. They realize, well, they can actually do something, not just passively go through a system. We're not sheep. We don't go through sheep dips and then nothing else is done. We can actually look after ourselves better than other health professionals because we are closer to ourselves. We get our bodies are giving us feedback all the time. That's right.
Yeah. And I mean, people they pay the price if they hand over all of their health decisions to another person, even if they perceive, like say, a medical doctor as being very capable and an expert and what like that. Depending on the health issue, their hands can be very tied in the treatment modalities they can offer you, or they're very limited in their knowledge base, even if they have a medical degree. Like, for instance, my father died of his cancer treatments. He had esophageal cancer, but he died of his treatments. He would have lived years and years and years had he not undergone treatment. And what I love about your device is that you can do scans if you have tumors and address that, like any parasite, any virus, bacteria, infection. Like I mentioned, parasites, fungal infections. You can do scans for those. The scan picks it up and starts addressing those things that are the priorities that your body needs.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important for people to realize that we're not anti-doctor, anti-mainstream medicine.
Yeah.
They're great. And doctors really have got their heart in the job. But the fact of the matter is they're seeing maybe 20, 30 people that day. And they can't put their heart and soul into each and every one. They just can't. They'd be frazzled by the end of the day. They just would be too taxing for them. So it's only for that reason. They've been registered, they've been to their medical school. As Wendy touched on, they haven't covered everything. They're applying what they've been taught in the best possible way. So it's no slant against doctors or other specialists. It's just the way it is, the way that the system is. When hospitals have their board meetings, they're not talking about individual patients, they're talking about the financials. I myself wouldn't be feeling too comfortable if I was just a financial, if I was so many % of a return for a day. I'd feel more comfortable if I had a name and people were actually truly caring for me. And I know that I care for me, so I'm perhaps the best suited person for the job. And so this, it's a mindset that people need to change, and it takes a while actually, Wendy. Because people are comfortable. They think the more money they pay out, the better the result will likely be, and so people are happy to spend $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, or even more for some conditions, in the hope that they'll get better. But as soon as that money's run out, they're on their own, especially in America. It's very scary. America's a terrible place to be poor. Health insurance, no.
Yeah, good luck.
Good luck. Yeah, good luck. Yeah, good luck.
Yeah. And one of the problems with being here, I live in Mexico, but it's the same issue. Like, people just don't have healthcare unless they have money at all. But with a device like this, you can help yourself, your family, your friends, and it's really remarkable too, because there's the least expensive option, which is, I recommend people can get started with it. It's called a remote. There are these blue remote devices, and they work remotely, where you can just take a clipping of your fingernail and put it inside the remote, run a program on it, choose whatever program you want to do. There's a detox program, there's a liver flush program, or whatever you want to do. You can run that program, and whoever's fingernail that is, it hits their DNA. And by quantum physics, it also, that same frequency, the modality, whatever you're trying to run, will hit that, will also go to that human as well. And so wherever they are, anywhere in the world, that's why it's called a spooky 2. Can you explain the Albert Einstein quote, why it's called a spooky 2?
Sure. Well, Einstein couldn't understand it either. And if he can't understand it, well, I can't see at this present point in time other people understanding it. It's where there's several factors. Any molecule can have more than one state at one time. But if you split a molecule or have two molecules which are from the same source molecule, they're still linked through the information between the two. If you put energy into one molecule, that energy is reflected in the other molecule. It sounds absolutely nuts, and it took me a year to prove it actually works. Now they're using quantum entanglement for space communications because it's instantaneous, which is a nice thing to have, instantaneous communication. It's not slow like the speed of light. But by vibrating a molecule in one location, its daughter molecule will also vibrate at the same amount, at the same frequency, and the same programs will be run from one to the other. This is how our SPICY2 remote works. You put your molecule inside the remote, your own DNA. That information is transferred to the DNA in your body. It doesn't move from the nail to your body. It's instantaneous because they're still linked. People have tried to understand it by thinking, well, there's no such thing as distance. Everything is time. If there's no such thing as distance, then we are as good as being actually inside these remotes as you're applying the frequencies. And the effect's the same. If you're a non-believer, it's not expensive to buy one and try it. It's really quite amazing when the first time you hear ringing in your ears, you think, where's that from? I've never heard that before. That's quite often people hear that when they first start the treatments. It's their body sort of hearing frequencies and reacting, the nerves or tingling and creating the ringing in their ears.
I had that.
That may go over time, just during treatments, or when they're treating themselves for health conditions that resolve themselves. And remote is very subtle. It's not a hammer. It's gently resolves health issues. So you realize over a course of a week, hang on a moment, this is gone. I no longer have this rash or this lump or this ache or this whatever. But I didn't notice it gone because it was so subtle, the change. But just as a health condition quite often creep up on you, it can also creep away and diminish over time. And what remote is doing is actually applying these health-giving frequencies. Because you're not connected to any device, you can run it 24/7. And so whatever's giving you, making your life making your life miserable is being removed. And it's got no chance of recovery because it's always being applied, these frequencies. If you've got a very serious health condition and you want to hammer the virus, bacteria, fungus, whatever, inside your body, then you use something like a plasma device or contact. Those do apply a heavy amount of energy into your body and give them a real punch, these pathogens. It's important to note that when we're developing our plasma, it was important to us to develop the best. Other manufacturers, I know there's lots of plasma devices out there, but they use what's termed a carrier frequency. That's a fixed frequency its sole purpose, nothing else. Its sole purpose is to light the tube, no matter what they try and tell you. They'll try and tell you that it's going to create harmonics that go up and up and up. No, Wendy, it's only to light the tube. But the problem with a fixed carrier is your body is getting this very high power frequency, which is not needed by your body. It's only needed for the tube. And so you get what's termed frequency fatigue, where you start feeling tired and, you get these headaches because this incessant frequency is being applied to your body. The frequency is not killing anything. The harmonics of that carrier frequency maybe, but not the main strongest frequency. So we designed what I believe to be the world's first plasma device, which doesn't need a carrier frequency to run. You can apply, with using laser precision, the frequencies that were discovered from your biofeedback. Exactly. Bang, 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 bang. And catch those critters that are making your life miserable. So, this is one instance where we've really got our mindset, our focus is on the people that are looking for answers and the best answers out there. And then we had this device. We could have charged $10,000, $15,000 like the rest of them, but no, we screwed that up, didn't we?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you did. I'm glad that you did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And can you tell us
we missed out a zero, didn't we?
Yeah. You left off a zero for sure. Well, I wanted to explain a little bit so people can kind of conceptualize how this device works. So you can get just the remote, put the fingernail in it, and send frequencies to you. But it's not as strong as, say, getting the plasma, which is like this kind of like a round ball. It's like a crystal ball, and that's sending like frequencies to you. That's probably the strongest that you need if you're quite ill. You're going to need kind of the strongest device that you offer. And there's also these sticky pads that you can do contact mode with the sticky pads on you, or there's like rods you can hold. There's other modalities. Sure. And you can stick that on your body, and some frequencies you want to deliver that way. So it's very versatile. There's a lot of different things you can do with this, and it looks like when you go on the website, it looks a little bit complex when you first start, go on there. But you have a whole video series that you can watch, and I set it up myself, and it took me a couple of days to kind of sit down with it and watch the videos and get it set up. But once I got going, it's very, very easy to use. Once you kind of get your head around it, it isn't difficult. Because you take people step by step on a video series, and you have a podcast, and you have a whole like university for people that really want to get into it and dive deep into what the spooky can do, which is a lot. And you also have a Facebook group. So if you get stuck with something, and I've gone on there many times and asked questions, especially as a beginner, as I was a couple of years ago. And you have when I was on it last, it was like 30,000 people. There's a lot of people on there that love spooky and are happy to help you if you get stuck on something.
Yeah. When you're sick, the very last thing you want to be is alone. You need answers. You don't know where to turn. No one's giving the answers. So there's now there's several actually, Wendy. We've got the Facebook group, we've got the forum for the more technical issues. We've got a lot of people that have got the same condition as you and have resolved the condition, and they're willing to tell you how they did it. So you can talk with these people and ask them, what's the best way to help myself to get better? So yes, we've got a huge Facebook community of very happy people, very friendly people. I don't think there's any other Rife manufacturer that's got as large a community as Spooky.
I've never heard of that before, but yeah, I love the resource. I love that resource, especially in the beginning. When I was reading it, I was reading about all the different. Well, I was reading testimonials in there, because you can go in there and join and read all the testimonials, and it was just mind blowing the things that people are successfully addressing and reversing permanently. And it speaks for itself, because these are individuals that are having success with it. Just talking about it, it's not coming from the manufacturer or me or whatnot.
And they're real reviews. They're not our staff or anything. They're real people. And what we quite often find is that after people become well, then they start contributing in the Facebook more to help other people that have got the same conditions themselves, because they have become an expert and they want other people to become well as well. I mean, this is why Spooky's grown so large, I think, Wendy. It's not because of any marketing ploys or things like this. It's because our focus is on humanity. We focus on health issues and getting people better. And I think people realize that. Well, they do, because look how many people are talking about us. Our heart is in the right place. And I believe that, good follows good. So, the people that do help out on the Facebook, who run the Facebook, the gentleman who started the Facebook group in the beginning, none of them are paid. They're not paid people. They're doing it for the same reason that we started Spooky. They're doing it for humanity. And I don't think there's any other manufacturer that does that. They normally have a support phone number or email support@ladada.com. And that's as far as you go. But here we've got 30,000 people on Facebook, 30,000 plus. There's this over, or probably the same number on the forum and other areas as well. Other countries, other languages. Not everyone who speaks English. So we've got Italian, German, and we are French. We've got a large presence in France. Spooky's grown for all the right reasons. So I do encourage people to take control over their own lives, even if they don't buy anything that's to do with Spooky 2. Look after yourself and you'll find that your health will improve better than if you just push your health issues onto a health professional. I like to think that we'd like to be part of your journey to better health. If you do decide to buy a Spooky 2 product, you'll be amazed at the support. You're not left alone. Once you've bought a Spooky product, you don't hear the end of us. The game's not over, the game is just beginning. We released our XM generator, which is the blue box that you referred to before, maybe 8, 9, maybe 10 years ago, long time ago. We are still improving the software that generator uses, increasing the database and increasing its capabilities. And it's free. That's it. You don't have to pay a subscription to belong to get the privilege of getting all these amazing new programs, which we're developing all the time. It's free.
And the frequencies, the functions, the programs, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
You just buy the little device. It's like $160 right now, or it goes on sale sometimes, and you can use the software forever.
Forever. And update the software forever. It will always be free. We feel very, very strongly about this, Wendy. We don't want to have the business model where we have subscribers. No, we want to have people so that they come to us and we can provide a solution. We developed our own method of deriving DNA frequencies. Now, this was a bit of a point of contention because up until when we released these, there were commercial sets out there where people had to pay $15 for magical numbers, which would get you well. And they are actually good frequencies. But I improved upon that markedly, and I found several flaws in the original method. But I released that into the public domain, the paper describing how I derived these DNA frequencies. And so I made it so that people could not apply for a patent for these frequencies, public domain. So I released the paper and I use the methods within the paper to develop frequencies, these programs that target these nasty bugs that are inside us.
Yeah, the curious.
So really, Wendy, if you can think of any disease, any critter that's circulating in your body or doing something to you that's nasty, there will be something in Spooky to address it. We are very mature now in the development of our systems. So there will be something for everyone who's watching this video now.
Yeah, and you even have every couple of weeks, you have new frequencies that you can download and you can update your...
Oh, excuse me, it's every week.
Oh, every week now. Great. Well, sorry.
It's...
Yeah, that's
every
great.
Week
you can update your software. You can do an update because there's, like you said, you're constantly developing things. It's like open source. There's other people passionate about Spooky working on different frequencies and uploading that to the database.
Absolutely. And there's a certain nasty virus which is circulating now, and it's changing all the time. Viruses don't like to be wiped out, so they will change to survive. They'll mutate. And the mutations happen on average. Every 2 weeks, there's a mutation. This is probably where you're thinking 2 weeks, but we catch every variant that is just been discovered. If it's been discovered, we've got the frequency for it. And so, yeah, we've got all the bases covered here, Wendy. We want to have solutions that work, not solutions that line the pockets. So the answer to that is keep on top of the game. We have developed systems that reach out and get the information from scientist databases of the genome information of all these variants, discover the frequencies which will specifically target that strain. So if you've got strain la-di-da-di-da, you can run this program and get it exactly, not rough enough and be told, strains, there's no such thing. The strains don't change that often. They do all the time. Also, viruses become extinct quite often as well. That's a positive, but they're normally made extinct by more powerful ones, unfortunately. But nevertheless, there's a lot of programs out there which are now irrelevant because the virus isn't there anymore. It's gone. The paper for the original DNA frequencies, as an example, use a tetanus genome in describing, this is in the patent application, a tetanus genome, and it gave the specifications for the genome. It's not that anymore. It's gone. That genome is no longer there. It's extinct. And that sort of highlights the importance of keeping everything up to date. It's almost like a shelf life. When you buy groceries, it's got a shelf life of 6 months, maybe a year. You don't want to be using that product. If it's old, it's become stale. It's not nutritious anymore. Well, frequencies are the same. You've got to keep using the frequencies which are most relevant and still fresh.
Yes. Well, Spooky 2 is as fresh as you can get. So I highly recommend you guys check it out. Go on spooky2.com. There's links below this video as well if you want to learn more. But go to spooky2.com and learn more about this life-changing device. It's something that I use personally. I've used it for a couple of years. And I use it all the time. It's my go-to first thing I use when I have some sort of issue going on. I have other bioenergetic devices I use, but they do different things. But if I have some sort of infection or something going on, or my daughter does, or I look in the programs for the Spooky 2, or I do a biofeedback scan and run the frequencies, and it couldn't be easier to do. And painless and super effective. It's amazing. So John, thanks so much for coming on the show and telling us how this all works. And everyone, thanks so much for listening to the Myers Detox podcast. I'm Wendy Myers, and I do this show because I really care about you guys, and I want you to have, kind of like, I want you to be able to take control of your health and control of your destiny in your life, because I know there's so many people out there suffering, and you have family members and loved ones that are suffering and have just, like, like I mentioned, my father died from his cancer treatments, and that really kind of propelled me into starting this website and educating myself and teaching other people about all the amazing people out there, like introducing you to John White and other people on the planet that are doing amazing work, making amazing discoveries to help you live your best life, because you do deserve to feel good. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you guys on the next show.
The Myers Detox Podcast is created and hosted by Wendy Myers. This podcast is for information purposes only. Statements and views expressed on this podcast are not medical advice. This podcast, including Wendy Myers and the producers, disclaim responsibility for any possible adverse effects from the use of information contained herein. Opinions of guests are their own, and this podcast does not endorse or accept responsibility for statements made by guests. This podcast does not make any representations or warranties about guest qualifications or credibility. Individuals on this podcast may have direct or indirect financial interest in products or services referred to herein. If you think you have a medical problem, consult a licensed physician.